Patience is the quietest form of wealth. Most never notice it working, yet it shapes every fortune ever built. This is not about saving harder. It is about thinking longer. The longer you think, the less you panic. Money rewards a certain kind of mind, a quiet one, a steady one, a mind that refuses to be rushed. The wealthy rarely chase. They wait and observe. They let time finish work that effort alone cannot. Watch how a calm person handles money. They pause where others rush. That pause separates outcomes by decades. Most people think wealth is about luck or intelligence. It rarely is. The deeper truth is far quieter. By the end of this, patience will look different, not as waiting, but as a strength almost no one practices. The broke mindset wants results today. The wealthy mindset asks what this choice looks like in 10 years. Ask yourself something honest. Which of those two minds has been making your money decisions for the past year? No judgment in that question, only recognition. Recognition is the first quiet step toward any meaningful inner shift. That single shift changes everything. Time stops feeling like an enemy. It starts feeling like a quiet partner. Notice how rarely the wealthy speak in urgent tones. Urgency is expensive. Calm is one of the cheapest advantages. Most financial mistakes are not strategic. They are emotional. They live between feeling something and acting on it. Patience closes that window. It puts a quiet pause between impulse and action. Inside that pause, better choices emerge. The broke pattern is non-stupidity. It is a learned reaction to scarcity, stress, and a world rewarding speed. You were not born impatient with money. You were trained to be. Every notification whispered the same restless message. The wealthy unlearn that training. They understand money behaves like a shy animal. It avoids anyone rushing toward it. Think of someone planting a tree. They do not dig up the roots weakly. They trust the slow growth underneath. Wealth grows the same way. The watching and worrying interrupts the very process you claim to want. The wealthy temperament treats time as the main ingredient. Strategy becomes secondary. Staying in the game is everything. This is why many lottery winners go broke. They receive money, but never the temperament behind keeping it. Money without patience is water in a cracked bucket. It does not matter how much pours in, it leaves. This explains a strange truth. Income alone does not build wealth. Temperament does. Without temperament, income simply passes through. Patience is that seal. It holds wealth in place long enough for compounding to do its quiet work. Notice how the two minds speak. The broke mind says soon. The wealthy mind says eventually. Soon is anxious. Eventually is grounded. One demands the world hurry. The other accepts things arrive on their schedule. The wealthy are not passive. They are patient, which is different. They act, then resist acting again too soon. Most people confuse motion with progress. They keep adjusting and switching, wondering why results feel scattered. A patient person trusts a quiet decision long enough to let it mature. Constant interference is the enemy. Imagine someone watching the news during a market storm. The impatient mind reacts. The patient mind remembers storms pass. That memory of time is what protects them. They have lived through cycles. They know panic rarely solves anything. If you have not lived through enough yet, borrow their memory. Read about cycles. Notice who stayed right. History is generous with this lesson. The patient almost always quietly inherit what the impatient hurriedly threw away. You do not need decades of experience for this mindset. Just remember, almost nothing urgent today will matter later. That one thought is a tool. Use it when your hands feel restless and your mind wants something dramatic. The broke pattern hides inside good intentions. The desire to fix faster, feel productive, prove visible progress now. Patience accepts that progress is often invisible. It happens in layers, long before anyone outside notices it. This is uncomfortable. We are wired for signs and applause. The wealthy find satisfaction in quiet, unwitnessed consistency. A boring habit repeated for years outperforms a brilliant strategy abandoned after months. The wealthy know this deeply. Pause for a moment here. When did you last make a money choice you were still proud of? If that answer feels uncomfortable, you are not alone. Most cannot remember. Most choices were reactions, not patient decisions. Share something in the comments. What is one impatient money moment you wish you could undo today? Your honesty might help someone else watching this. We all carry these silent moments. Speaking loosens their grip. We carry impatient moments silently. Silence is what lets them keep repeating in our lives year after year. Now back to the deeper pattern. Patience is not just waiting longer, it is choosing differently because you trust time. The wealthy mind asks a strange question before acting. What would the calmest version of me do here? That question is free. It costs nothing. Practice daily, it rebuilds a temperament that separates wealth from chaos. Notice how patience changes risk too. Be impatient, see risk as scary. The patient see something time can soften. They are not fearless. They simply do not let fear hold the pen writing their next chapter. The bro pattern runs from risk, then chases it suddenly out of desperation. The wealthy walk toward it slowly. This is why temperament beats intelligence. A brilliant, impatient person outsmarts themselves repeatedly. A calm person outlasts them. You do not need a higher mind. You need a longer attention span and willingness to bore yourself wealthy. That phrase feels strange, but it is accurate. Wealth is built to repetition that looks dull from outside. The wealthy are not entertained by their habits. They are loyal to them. Loyalty carries habits across decades. Think how often you abandon something because it stopped feeling exciting. Apply that instinct to money. The pattern emerges. Excitement is expensive. It pulls you out of consistency into novelty. Novelty almost always costs more than boring. The patient person finds quiet pride in steadiness. They no longer need the world to clap for them. This inner reward system is rare. Most people need outside validation. The wealthy build an inner scoreboard quietly. That inner scoreboard is patience in disguise. It says you are doing well, even when nothing visible happens. Without it, people quit too early. They mistake silence for failure. Silence is often something growing underground. Patience also changes how you handle setbacks. The impatient see them as proof the path is broken. The patient see weather. Weather passes, climate is the long pattern underneath, steady and reliable. The wealthy keep their eyes on the climate when today feels overwhelming. They refuse to confuse the two. This is why they rarely make dramatic moves during dramatic moments. The loudest moments are the worst time to decide. When everyone panics, the patient mind grows quieter. When everyone is euphoric, the patient mind grows more careful. This is not contrarianism for its own sake. It is the natural result of thinking in decades, not days. Time horizon is the secret variable almost no one mentions. Change your horizon, and you change which choices look smart. The broke horizon is this week. The wealthy horizon is this decade. Same world, completely different decisions made. You can lengthen your horizon today, not financially, but mentally. Just ask how this choice feels in 5 years. That one question slowly rewires your temperament. It pulls you out of the short loop into the longer one. Patience is not glamorous. It will not give you a story to tell at dinner. It gives you peace. That trait is hard to accept early on. We want both the story and the result. The wealthy choose result. Over time, the absence of drama becomes its own reward. Finances feel calm. Decisions feel light. The future opens. Compare that to the impatient life. Constant adjusting, worrying, chasing the next thing because the last moves slowly. That exhaustion is not a personality flaw. It is the cost of trying to outrun time instead of partnering. You can stop running today, not by doing more, but by doing less, more consistently, for longer than feels reasonable. That is the entire shift. Less novelty, more loyalty. Less urgency, more horizon. The wealthy temperament lives there quietly. None of this requires more money. It requires a different relationship with time, available to anyone slowing down. Start with one small practice. Before any money decision this week, pause for 24 hours. One day quiet. That single buffer will reveal something. You will notice how many urges fade when you refuse to feed them. This is patience in its smallest form. Not a personality trait, but a chosen pause, repeated until it sticks. Over months, that pause grows. It becomes a week, a season, an ability to sit with discomfort calmly. That ability is worth more than most financial knowledge. Knowledge without patience leaks. Patience without knowledge still compounds quietly. The wealthy do not always know more. They simply react less. Reacting less over time looks identical to wisdom. You can begin this today, not by changing your bank account, but by changing your relationship with tomorrow. Watch your hands when you feel urgency. Watch your thoughts when you feel behind. Those are the dangerous moments. A different response in those moments slowly builds a different life. Not overnight, but undeniably, like forests forming. You are not behind. You are simply being invited to think on a longer timeline than the world sells. That invitation is quiet. It will not trend. It will not feel urgent. But every wealthy mind accepted it. Say yes in small ways. A pause here. A delayed decision there. A question about 10 years whispered inward. These small yeses accumulate. They are the real currency of temperament. Temperament is the real currency of lasting wealth. You do not need to feel patient to act patient. You only need to pause. Pause first. Feelings follow. This is the secret most people miss. They wait to feel ready. The wealthy simply act calmer until calm arrives. If something here resonated, take a breath before scrolling away. Ask which sentence you most needed to hear. Then leave that sentence in the comments if you feel called to. Your words may meet someone else perfectly. If this channel feels like the calmer voice you have been missing, subscribe and turn on the bell quietly. Patience is not something you are born with. It is something you practice quietly until you become someone new. The rich are not a different species. They simply made peace with time before the rest of us did. You can make that same peace starting now in the next small decision you face. Time rewards quiet waiting. So slow down. Breathe. Choose the longer horizon. Let patience begin doing what urgency never could for you. Wealth is rarely loud. It arrives slowly to those who stopped chasing and started waiting with calm hands. Be one of those people. Not someday, today, in the very next money thought you have after this ends. That quiet is where it begins. Not in a strategy, not in a windfall, in a single patient breath chosen. Take that breath now, then the next. This is how the rich quietly become rich, one breath at a time. The shift is not loud, it is internal. A different relationship with time slowly chosen until everything changes. You will not notice the change at first. Then one day you will look up. Years will have passed. That is patience finishing its work. Not dramatic, not glamorous, simply undeniable in the quiet space it builds. Hold that space carefully. Protect it from urgency, from comparison, from the noise pulling you back into shorter loops. Because once you taste this temperament, the old way feels exhausting. The new way feels, finally, like coming home. That is the quiet promise of patience. Not riches overnight, but a calmer self that wealth tends to find.